The phenomenon of inflammaging, a term that describes the chronic, low-grade inflammation that quietly builds with age, is now recognized as a central driver of many age-related diseases. But one of its most pervasive and debilitating manifestations is less often discussed: the chronic pain and fatigue that so often accompany it. Unlike the sharp, localized pain of injury, the discomfort linked to inflammaging is diffuse, persistent, and system-wide. It's the kind of ache that defies diagnosis, resists conventional treatment, and slowly erodes quality of life. Understanding this connection and learning how to break it could transform how we approach aging, vitality, and pain management. At its core, inflammaging is a subtle but widespread immune dysregulation. Over time, the body's innate immune system becomes chronically activated, even in the absence of infection or injury. This is driven by multiple factors: cellular senescence, oxidative stress, microbial translocation from a leaky gut, and the gradual accumulation of damaged macromolecules and debris in tissues. These danger signals trigger immune cells to release small amounts of pro-inflammatory cytokines like IL-6, TNF-A, and C-reactive protein, CRP, levels too low to cause acute illness, but high enough to keep the body in a constant state of alert. This baseline inflammation doesn't just wear down organs, it fundamentally alters how we perceive and respond to pain. Research shows that chronic inflammation can sensitize pain pathways in both the peripheral and central nervous systems. Cytokines like IL-1 and TNF-A can lower the threshold for nociceptor activation, meaning that even normal stimuli can be interpreted as painful. At the same time, inflammatory molecules can disrupt neurotransmitter balance in the brain, amplifying pain perception and contributing to the fatigue, brain fog, and mood disturbances commonly reported in aging individuals. This overlap is especially pronounced in conditions like fibromyalgia, osteoarthritis, and even long COVID, where chronic inflammation intersects with heightened neural sensitivity. The systemic fatigue that often accompanies this process is not simply a matter of energy loss. It reflects mitochondrial dysfunction at the cellular level. Chronic inflammation impairs mitochondrial function and biogenesis, reducing the body's capacity to generate ATP, the fuel that powers every cell. As energy production falters, muscles tire more easily, cognitive function dips, and recovery after activity becomes sluggish. Over time, this contributes to a cycle of reduced movement, increased stiffness, and escalating pain. Inflammaging, in this way, becomes a self-reinforcing loop of biological wear and functional decline. But can this cycle be broken? Growing evidence suggests that the answer is yes, through a combination of targeted therapies, lifestyle interventions, and possibly emerging xenotherapeutics. One of the most direct ways to counteract inflammaging is to reduce the burden of senescent cells. These cells, which accumulate with age and injury, are major contributors to chronic inflammation via their senescence-associated secretory phenotype, SESP. Senolytic therapies, like Physidin, quercetin, and even repurposed drugs like dasatinib, aim to clear these inflammatory cells, and early animal studies suggest that doing so can lower systemic inflammation, reduce frailty, and restore function. Clinical trials are ongoing to test whether similar benefits translate to humans with chronic inflammatory conditions. Equally important is restoring metabolic and immune balance through lifestyle. Regular physical activity, especially low-impact, rhythmic movement like walking, swimming, or Tai Chi, has been shown to suppress systemic inflammation, improve mitochondrial health, and recalibrate immune function. Exercise also increases anti-inflammatory cytokines like IL-10 and reduces levels of TNF-A, directly counteracting inflammaging's core drivers. Importantly, movement also modulates brain chemistry, enhancing endorphin and dopamine levels that reduce pain perception and lift mood. Diet plays a powerful role as well. Anti-inflammatory dietary patterns, rich in omega-3 fatty acids, polyphenol, fiber, and phytonutrients, can lower CRP levels, improve gut microbiota composition, and reduce oxidative stress. Foods like turmeric, berries, olive oil, leafy greens, and fermented vegetables not only nourish the body but also send anti-inflammatory signals that ripple through the immune and nervous systems. Conversely, diets high in processed foods, added sugars, and saturated fats are linked to greater inflammatory load and worse pain outcomes. Sleep, often overlooked, is another essential lever. Poor or fragmented sleep elevates inflammatory markers and amplifies pain sensitivity. Restorative sleep improves immune regulation, dampens the stress response, and allows cellular repair processes to unfold overnight. Addressing sleep apnea, circadian disruption, or chronic insomnia may, therefore, be a critical step in breaking the inflammation, pain, fatigue cycle. Mind-body practices such as meditation, breathwork, and yoga also show promise in lowering inflammatory biomarkers and reshaping neural circuits involved in pain perception. These practices help calm the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal (HPA) axis, reduce cortisol output, and promote parasympathetic activity, all of which can buffer the biological stress that fuels inflammaging. Ultimately, the link between inflammaging and chronic pain is not a one-way street. It is a dynamic, reversible process influenced by our internal biology and external environment. By targeting senescent cells, restoring immune balance, enhancing mitochondrial function, and reducing environmental stressors, we may not only alleviate pain and fatigue, but also slow the broader aging process itself. In this way, pain is more than a symptom, it is a signal of systemic imbalance. And rather than resigning ourselves to its inevitability, we can use that signal as a call to action. The path to breaking the link between inflammaging and chronic pain is not simple or instantaneous, but it is increasingly clear, scientifically grounded, and within reach. With an integrative, multi-level approach, aging no longer has to mean living in constant discomfort. It can mean moving freely, thinking clearly, and feeling well for much longer than we ever imagined.